So in this video, we're going to talk about how Starbucks is going to have the roughest 2025. And it is not looking good. If you've been looking at the news lately, Starbucks employees have been striking. And there's hundreds of locations that have been impacted. And the union said, nope, we want pay raises for our people. And this is what we're going to do. And if you don't like it, then we're just going to shut down the store and be done. So now let's look at what the union truly wants. So this is from the New York Post. Starbucks says workers' pay demand not sustainable as union strikes. Here we go. So let's see what the union kind of wants for their employees. And workers' union proposes a call for an immediate increase in their minimum wage of hourly partners by 64% and 77% over the life of the 3-year contracts. Starbucks said in the statement, this is not suitable at all. And then they kind of go on and saying, we've already done so much for all these people and we're already paying them 18 to 30 bucks an hour and we can't do it. So this is absolutely crazy, right? So the union also says it's unfair labor practices, that their union is presuming for the resolution of numerous unfair labor law practice charges filed with the National Labor Regulation Board. And yeah, so that's what they're kind of looking for. So they're shutting them down. They're saying, stop doing it. And over the holidays, we're not going to be open, right? So I asked AI a little bit of how much profit does Starbucks even makes if they can even afford to pay that? Because it's always nice to say, oh my gosh, let's do this for our people and let's give them the biggest pay raises and give them all this money. And these are great ideas, but can they actually do it? Can they pull it off, right? So in October of 2023, Starbucks reported net income of $4.1 billion, and they've reached their quarterly goals and all this stuff. So they made in the fiscal year of 2023, right? 2024 is not out yet. So the amount after everything is paid is $4.1 billion. So now you're looking at, okay, can they actually pay out all these high wages? Can they pay for all these benefits and all that kind of stuff, right? So I asked AI again, if the union gets their way, can Starbucks actually do it? Because Starbucks is a for-profit business, and can they actually do it? So we ran some numbers. In 2023, the net income was $4.12 billion. Starbucks total revenue was $36 billion. Starbucks operating margins was 16%. So the estimated labor cost is 25 to 30%. Assuming Starbucks labor costs are at the higher end of 30%, 10.2 billion area, the impact of a 77% increase would put the labor cost to 19.1 billion, and that increase of $8.3 billion, right? So that means that they would not have the money to do that they would lose $2.4 billion before taxes and other costs to give the union what they want. Now you can say, yeah, that doesn't really matter, they should still do it. Well, this is somewhat correct, but when we look at it, how they're going to have to do this, right? Because it's like, okay, we're living in this world where we should be able to do it and we can do it, right? So let's say they get their increases. How do you, hey, just really quick, like 78% of you guys that watch my videos on a regular are not subscribed. So please click the like and subscribe button. That would really help me out. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks. Do about that. Significantly increase prices. So everything that the union forces on to the company's going to force onto you and me that go there. So if you and I have been thinking that Starbucks is way too expensive now, wait till all these hit. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you got an increase, but guess what they're going to do over the next 3 years? They're going to invest heavily into automation, right? So they're going to invest into automation, and they're going to then say, hey, you know what? Baristas, you guys are done. We have automation now, and we're just going to give you the boot. And once the contract's up, we're going to lay people off because we invested so much in automation, because there's only so much you can squeeze out of a cup of coffee, right? And I asked you guys before in the comment once how much you guys go there and all this other stuff, and you guys said either, there's like 1 or 3 people said, a majority actually, not 1 or 3 people, but a lot of you guys said that they go to Dunkin Donuts and they get a $2 coffee because Starbucks is just too expensive, right? And so now if the labor union wants increased prices, Starbucks is going to be forced to cut down on that labor cost, because I kid you not, the CEO will not start flying commercial from LA to Seattle to go to the office, because that's just not going to happen. And you're delusional if you're going to think that he's going to cut costs on him and everybody else to save so that the workers can get something. There's only a few CEOs in the world that actually have done it and actually care about the workers that much. And I'm not saying that this is good or bad. This is just how they look at it, right? And so they got to decrease the cost. And this is just a pure numbers game. How many stores can we optimize? How many stores can we automate? And how many stores can we make it so that we're just even more profitable and make more money and pay less to employees and do all this other stuff, right? And here we go. This is the second point: improve operational efficiencies, right? So what does that mean? That means investing into automation, robots that do it, right? We saw, as I always say, we saw Flippy make these hamburgers, right? So at one point they're going to have coffee suspense robots. If you've been to the San Francisco airport, you see that this automation robot does fully automated barista will come at one point, and you just gotta have to fill it, and all of a sudden making fancy drinks can come back down to really cheap, right? Because it's not that much of an experience. People just don't want to chat with their barista about, hey, do you like these coffee beans and whatnot? No, you can go to a local coffee shop or to a roastery and have these conversations. Because when I look at the Starbucks that's right down the road from my house, is the drive-thru's packed, and the drive-thru you don't get that experience, and you still pay the price. But inside the store, there's not that many people. And now we are all just kind of seeing what's going to happen, because there's so many people employed by Starbucks. And when I say employed, I don't necessarily mean direct employed by Starbucks. I'm talking about being employed indirectly, right? You drive a truck, you are a subcontractor of a subcontractor, and you're a processing facility, or you grow cows and for their sandwiches and all that kind of other stuff. You deliver meat, right? And even though you're not directly hired by them, you still get your paycheck from some of these people that go to Starbucks coffees. And now I'm just saying, it is absolutely crazy that they want that much of an increase, right? So now they also got reduced costs in other areas. And this is what I love to see, because when we're talking about, oh, we got to cut costs, right? Everybody's in this world saying we got to decrease costs. We're just going to have to save money, right? And it's never our paycheck. It's never your paycheck. It's always like, let's save in another area where it's not my department. It's not my department. Let's just push it on to the manufacturer. Let's save cost over there. Let's save cost over there, right? And so that brings up to how far and how much profit are you going to make, because it's always going to come at an expense, right? So Starbucks has been in the news lately facing allegations for unfair labor practices of its coffee supplier, right? Because the supply chain and all that, they grow the coffee beans and they do all that, right? In China, some farms in Starbucks supply chain have been accused of using children as laborers, right? And now you're like, well, that's China, right? But it's not just China, it is all over. It is Brazil, wage theft. In Brazil, workers at Starbucks certified coffee supplier have been accused of wage theft. Unsafe labor practices in Brazil. Labor officials have been reported that some Starbucks supplier have engaged in unsafe labor practices, including not providing clean drinking water, personal protection equipment, and bathrooms. Then there were human rights and forced labor and all this other stuff. So if you're trying to say, you know what, we're just gonna cut the suppliers, we're gonna get them, we're gonna save the money on that, you're gonna save money on something else, and they're not gonna have, and they're gonna get labor violations and all this other stuff that they're just gonna do, because the company still needs to make a profit. And I know you guys absolutely hate when I say that. It's like, but these corporations need to make money. And in 2025, it's going to be really difficult for Starbucks to get all these places settled. They're keep doing down the same road. And I know that the global stuff's going great, but in the US, if this trajectory of the economy continues, it's not going to be looking good, because as we're seeing now, there's even more tens of thousands of stores have closed in Big Lots and all these other ones, Party City, and all these people are gonna be jobless. And so one of the easy ways to save money is stop drinking coffee out. It's an easy, very easy fix to do, right? And it is not that bad to just say, hey, we're not gonna drink coffee out anymore. We're just gonna just make it at home. And yeah, a coffee machine might cost you a little bit of money, or a drip system, whatever you guys got going on, but it's really, really cheap. Or you go to Dunkin Donuts for $2. And so the competition's high, the stakes are high, and it might be time to revamp it and start heavily investing into automations. And then you guys are going to be saying, oh, they're going to automate more. That means there's going to be less jobs for us. And that's what it's going to come down to, that there's going to be less jobs, and they're going to streamline it, and they want to get you to work more for less or the same pay, and trying to get more coffees to crank out. Because I remember when I owned my frozen yogurt store, it was 2 doors down off of Starbucks, and I talked to the owner that owns the plaza, and I asked him, so Starbucks, what do they value their location? They see traffic, they do their due diligence, and they have a yearly goal of selling a certain amount of cups. That's their goal. They just need to sell a certain amount of cups and then be done. If they sell enough cups, they're good to go, and they're just keep the location, they keep renewing. But if they see a downward trend, they're gonna see, what is it? Maybe we'll fix it, maybe we don't, and that's kind of it. But for all of us, if these Starbucks people are gonna be going on strike, and I know it was only like a few percentage of locations that are impacted, but it spreads. It really, really spreads. And I saw that in Santa Cruz, when I was there like a year or so ago. They started talking about strikes. They were waiting outside, and they're very dedicated to the cause, right? And when people are really, really into it and really, really like say, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and that's what we really, really want, then all of a sudden it's really, really hard to get new people in to do the job, unless there's a huge recession and people are just happy to go to work. Because as I always say, in 2009, right? In 2009, people told me they're just blessed to have a job. And nowadays, everybody's saying, oh, it's not a good paying job, and I don't want a job that doesn't pay me well. And so one way to tackle all this inflation and all this other stuff is to make a lot of people unemployed, right? Then that's going to stop the money supply. It's going to bring inflation down. If you can't go and buy your coffee, you can't go out and spend frugalist money, that's going to bring inflation down, right? So that is one way of stopping inflation going crazy, right? Is it the right way in my opinion? Probably not, but it is one way. So when I'm looking at all this Starbucks stuff, and I'm telling you, this is going to be tough for them to figure it out. And that is sometimes why I do believe that the CEO that came from Taco Bell, that turned around Chipotle, should get paid the big dollars if he can turn it around. Because big problems, if you solve big problems, you should get a big paycheck. If you solve small problems, you should get smaller paychecks, right? That's kind of how Elon Musk becomes so wealthy, like it or not. If you solve really, really big problems, you get really, really big paychecks, right? And if you do smaller projects and you solve that, then you get a smaller paycheck, right? And that's just how it normally is. And so, yeah, absolutely crazy. And I just don't see Starbucks is gonna be something that people can afford unless the economy is gonna be picking up again. People are gonna invest and say, you know what, we're ready to reinvest, we're ready to keep it going, and we're gonna bring jobs back and do all these things. And then people have jobs, people get wage increases, and then people can spend money on coffee. But if you're asking $8, $9 a cup, it's just too much for the normal folks of America, right? And can people in the Bay Area, in super high-end, expensive areas, can they buy a coffee? Yeah, they probably made it back, right? If you're really into stocks and you have hundreds of thousands in equity in your house, you have a paid-off house, paid-off car, a Starbucks coffee isn't going to break the bank. But if you have 4 kids, you're living paycheck to paycheck, $9, $10 on a coffee is just too much, because that's, as you see in Las Vegas, a gallon's $3. So that's like, oh, I can get 3 gallons, I get 20 miles a gallon, so I can almost drive 100 miles with that money rather than just getting one Starbucks cup. And that's just the name of the game, right? If gas prices are up, people have to start saying, hey, we cannot afford to do all these other things. And that's why I think these luxury brands, like, or that try to be luxury brands as Starbucks, are just gonna have a difficult time reeling in their customers because they gotta make their value proposition really, really hard. So let me know what you guys think, but it's gonna be tough for them because unions and everything. And I get these people that are working for them, and you guys want fair labor practices. You guys want all these pay raises, and I get it. You know, it's tough. It's really, really tough, and you guys deserve to make a living wage. And for high price areas, I think they should totally increase the prices. And yeah, especially if you're a Starbucks in the middle of nowhere and you got to drive 2 hours or an hour just to service that area, I think you should get paid a lot of money because to replace you is even more expensive. So let me know what you guys think about all this. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys are celebrating, and Happy Holidays. Didn't make a video yesterday. I was celebrating with family. Had beef Wellington. It was hella nice. So in Las Vegas here, and Walmart's closed, Sam's Club's closed. A bunch of restaurants are closed today. Even though this is like a 24-hour town, it's surprising to see on today. So I'm filming this video. I'm going to upload it as soon as I get home. It's surprising to see that so many people are actually closed, and Starbucks is still open. And I don't know if this location has been impacted by strikes. I haven't gone there that much. I just haven't. I just like my chai tea at the house, not doing too much. And yeah, so I'm pretty well off with just the stuff I got at the house because I cannot afford to spend $10 on a cup of coffee in this economy. It is just brutal. So let me know what you guys think. And yeah, let me know what I should cover. So shoot me an email. Let's connect on LinkedIn. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.